What's going on, y'all? I'm Tobias Rose, principal and the creative director here at Complex, and I'm also the host of Conversations. This is a podcast and a video series that we do whenever the hell we want to do it. And you might catch us next week. You may catch us next month, but no matter what, you will catch us. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And I have a very, very, very super special guest. This is one of my friends. I've known him for 15 years. We just figured this out today that it's been that long. As he was bubbling and becoming the superstar that he is, I was there in the beginning to watch him just kind of getting started. And well, I don't even want to say you were getting started because you were already going. But, this cat has become, in my opinion, a legend in hip hop. And I am happy to introduce y'all to my friend Skyzoo.
Yeah.
What's the
up,
word,
brother? Oh man, I don't know how to follow that up. I can just leave.
I mean,
you laid it all out.
That was the second time I did, because the first time we screwed it up.
But it was all good. It's all good. What's up, brother, man?
Ain't nothing much, man. It's good to see
man?
you. Just every time I have you here in town, it's just always dope. We lost a whole year.
Yeah, it was 2019.
2019, seeing you in Chapel Hill. That was dope. Chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
Elzai got to come through and check out a little bit of North Carolina. But I want to tell the world, let's tell the world how we met. Because that was kind of dope.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's not with us anymore that's super legendary, that was a part of the conversation, that was a part of the picture. Mm-hmm. You want to tell the story? You want to tell them?
Set it off.
All right.
Throw the alley in and out.
Let me throw it in. So we were moving into our space, Complex. So this is Complex Creative, if you haven't noticed. This is the studio. But before we were here, we were actually across the street from R.N. Harris Elementary School. Now, if you know anything about that,
that's right.
R.N. Harris Elementary School is where, Miss Atwater and C.P. Ellis had the infamous the sessions to integrate Durham school system. And so we didn't know that while we were across the street. We were in the warehouse making music, or they were making music. I was just moving in. And there was this rapper there. I didn't know who this cat was, from New York. I was like, this is a super New York dude. Who is this cat? And it was Sky. He was there at the same time as, God rest his soul, Sean Price. Mm-hmm. And Sean P., he helped us move into the first studio. I just never saw myself having Sean Price helping us move into our space.
That part I didn't know.
Yeah.
He was helping physically move stuff. I didn't know that part. That's crazy.
I was looking around for the green ladder in here. There's a green ladder when I first got it.
Yeah. And
P saw me struggling to pull it out. He was like, yo, come on, dude, I got you. And I was like, yo, he said that just like Sean P would say it.
That's real.
So he came through, he got the ladder, because we were trying to paint the space and everything.
Yeah.
But Sky was there recording with Ninth Wonder. Mm-hmm. That was when you did Cloud9, right?
That was around that time, 2006.
So
Absolutely.
He was recording Sky. So this is the setup. We're over there moving in the complex, moving into our space. He's over there recording. Mm-hmm. I think Sean P was recording the Jesus Price album.
Jesus Price Superstar,
yeah, I think it was Jesus Price Superstar. What else was being recorded at the same time? Darian Brockington, somebody to love.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
It was a lot.
Man. It was a lot of great things happening at one time at the chop shop. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me a bit about how that influenced your music, just coming back and forth to the South, because there's definitely there's something different with the way that you approach music. And I've been trying to place my finger on it ever since this new project come out. But tell me a little bit about how the South influenced your perspective in music.
Oh, man, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, but my family is from South Carolina. Mm-hmm. My background is South Carolina, Monscona, a small part.
You and Charlamagne the God?
That's my cousin.
Oh, hell.
That's my cousin, you know what I'm saying? So
that's an exclusive, y'all.
Yeah.
Word,
So Monscona, that's my whole family. As a kid growing up, I got sent to Monscona every summer. So I'm a city boy, but I know a little bit about the South. Like, I'm not afraid of the woods. I'm not afraid of the chickens in the yard, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just not the tomatoes yet. We're gonna get you
I
on.
wasn't that familiar until you told me earlier today. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different thing. But yeah, so I have a deep love and appreciation and admiration for the South, even though I'm a city dude. You know what I mean? Because obviously our background and where we're from, but also on a more personal, direct level because my family is from there. So like every summer as a little kid, yo, Amtrak, let's go. I was out. My parents was like, get out. You know what I mean? So I was on the Amtrak for 2 months in the South, Monscona, dirt roads and, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, a pig walk through your grandmother's yard and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw that.
That's a different part of the South right there.
Yeah, no, it's real. Yeah. Monscona is, you know what I mean? I love Monscona. That's my second home, you know what I mean? So going back to what you said, I guess my appreciation for it comes from the soul aspect of it. Because anything with the soul is going to be from the South to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the root of it. I don't care how much is happening in the city, whether it's New York or whatever. And I'm New York to the core. But we know the soul come from the South. You know what I mean? So like anything as far as putting the soul in the music, from the sound to the feeling, that's rooted down here in the South.
So I don't know this part of the story. So when I came in, you were just here.
Yeah.
What brought you here?
So in 2004, late 2004, I'm a dude in New York, got a regular job. You know what I mean? I think I was working at Kinko's at the time. Had a regular job and all that. Yeah, I'm Kinko's alumni, baby.
Yo, I'm thinking about the Chappelle Show skit.
I'm Kinko's alumni. When that came out, I was working at Kinko's when that skit came out.
Wow.
And we was dying the next day at work because it wasn't true, but it looked. They definitely filmed it in the Kinko's.
Oh, it was true. It was Durham. It was true.
It wasn't true in New York. I worked on one in the Upper East Side.
So.
But they filmed that shit in. Can we curse?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They filmed that shit in a real Kinko's because we was looking like, yo, they go to so-and-so and this, you know what I mean? But so anyway, I'm a regular dude, man, on the train every day, working at Kinko's, and my man, shout out to my man Ayers Knight, that's still my man to this day. He puts me on to this dude named Sean Don. Yo, you gotta hear, that's my brother. Dunny's my brother.
Mine too.
Yo, you gotta hear Sean Don, boom, 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 little brother, Justice League, boom, boom. And he's putting me on to some of the stuff. I wasn't hip yet, you know what I mean? And he put me on to like, what was it, The Listening, and you know all that. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, whatever. And Dunny wound up being in New York. And he was like, yo, the kid Sean Don is here. Yo, I gotta introduce you to him. And I was like, all right. And he introduced me to him. And I was recording at a studio in Long Island. So we met, and Dunny's so cool, he ain't know me from a hole in the wall, and he came to my spot where I was recording my man's studio in Long Island. He just came through and we did like 2 records. And just I had never met him.
That's
you know
how Dunny is,
Yeah, it was just love. Oh, you from New York? Bet. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And you know, I gave him a couple mixtapes, and he brought him down here, and he just was going off to everybody. Big Doe, shout out to my brother Big Doe and Tay and Pooh and Knife and everybody. He was like, yo, we gotta rock with this kid Skyzoo. I just met him in New York. He's fucking crazy. Yo, here. So apparently, because I wasn't here to hear it, but from what they all told me, like Dunny was passing the tapes around. Like,
Yes,
yo,
it was, yeah.
you gotta hear it. And he was pushing for me to come down here, and then Doe was like, yo, bring him out, bring him down. So it was a couple months later, like early 05, and I flew down for a week, like 5-6 days, something like that. And Crisis picked me up from the airport. We had it all arranged, whatever. I ain't know him. He was playing beats in the car, and it was love, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I did 14 records that week.
Wow.
And it was Crisis, 9th for 10. And then Crisis put me on to somebody who is my brother to this day. Crisis was like, yo, it's this Chinese kid up there in New Jersey who got crazy beats. You don't know him, his name is Illmind.
Yep.
Illmind's Filipino. He's not even Chinese.
No, no, he's not, but that sounds
he
like,
was like, yo, it's this Chinese kid up there who got crazy beats.
That's old Crisis.
Yeah, and he put me on to him, and he introduced me to Illmind on AIM.
Yeah.
On the Sidekick AIM joint. And Illmind sent me a beat over on AIM, and we did that. And so I did all these records with all those guys, and we didn't do nothing with it. It was just working
Just
out.
music, just fun,
And,
yeah.
and that's what they would do. That's what like Doe and the League and them would do. They would just bring you out, and you would just record. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like summer runs. Like, you know, in the summertime, all the ball players get together. It felt like summer runs. Like, yo, we just gonna rock. We just gonna play and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I did like 14, 15 records, and maybe 2 of them saw the light of day. We just did it. You know what I mean? But they all was crazy and everything was great. And that started the relationship. Long story short, that started the relationship of me rocking with all y'all, you know what I mean? And I would come down. I come down for a weekend. I come down for 3 days. Mind you, I still got a job, so like, I'm calling out of work and taking time, and you know
Dude,
what I'm saying?
I didn't know that. I thought you were a full-time rapper, because I was like,
No.
this cat has all kind of flexibility. He keep coming down here.
I was 21, 22, like, fuck that, I'm out. You know what I'm
man.
saying? Like,
Wow.
I'm like, yo, I'm here to get it. You know what I mean? Like, and I was, yo, I can't come to work. I can't come to work. You
I
know
didn't
what I mean?
know that.
Like, I need 2-3 days, boom, I'm
Wow.
gone. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, I'm yeah, just putting it together, you know what I
That's
mean?
something else.
And that's how that happened, man. And it just started growing. You know, the relationships just started growing with everybody, and I kind of became like extended family. Like at the time, appreciate it. When J League was still, you know, rolling, I was like, if they brothers, I'm the distant cousin. You know what I mean? That's how I always said it. Like, yo, I'm the distant cousin. Like, it's love. I'm the cousin that live up north and comes to this barbecue and the family reunion. Like, I'm that cousin. You know what I mean? So that was what it was in those times, man. That's like 05, 06. You know what I mean? And that was how that rolled.
Well, you know, when we did the Soldiers of Fortune project, you were in there like you were a part. You know,
I think I'm on like 2 or 3 records on that. Yeah,
we put you in there like you were a part of the team.
Yeah,
you know, that's
yo,
what it was.
it's crazy. In the album booklet, my picture is in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I was
put it there.
That's real. Like if I was a member of the crew, you know
I put it in there, yeah.
And it was dope, man. You know, it's funny. I always, and I'm sure we may get into it as the conversation goes on, but I always attribute that moment to, I remember when 50 said in 02, 03? 02, when he got signed to Shady and Aftermath and he was moving. And I remember an interview where he was like, yo, I'm from New York. All the labels is in New York. I had to go to Detroit and LA to get my deal. And I always had the same mind frame when I started rolling, like, yo, I'm from New York, all the labels, all the crews, everybody's here. I had to go to North Carolina to pop.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when Fifth had said that a couple years prior, but once I started rolling, that it hit me the same way. I was like, yeah, so to this day, when I tell a story like right now, I'm like, yo, I'm from New York. I had to go to North Carolina to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I went to North Carolina and got hot. My buzz started, like, I was buzzing in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? I was buzzing locally, but it wasn't nothing like, you know, I still had a job. You know what I mean? But when I came down here, started working with y'all, putting all that stuff in the air, then it was like, all right, we out. You know what I mean?
So when you got here, so I'm not even gonna say when you got here, but when we moved over, Sean P was there.
Yeah. That was like 05. Yeah.
That was 05,
Yep.
05, somewhere around there.
05, 06, something, yeah.
So what I noticed was after that, y'all started working together. You even signed to Duck. Were you signed down something with Duck Down at one point, or?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Not at that time. I got signed to Duck Down after.
Okay.
I met P through y'all. Like that same day you
That
talking
same
about.
week?
That was
Okay.
when I met P. Like I knew who he was, obviously, because I'm from Brooklyn, hip hop head, Duck Down. So of course I knew Helter Skelter, Sean Price. You know what I mean? Of course. But I never met him.
Did y'all develop a relationship after that?
Right there. And P's my brother. Rest in peace. Right there. I remember. So I'm in there. He's in one room writing, I'm in another room writing, and we kind of sharing, you know, a room, recording time. Like, all right, I'm in here right now, and then son gonna go in there after that, and you know, whatever. Yeah. So we doing that, and I was recording something, and it was a hook. Then there was another hook I had to do on something or for somebody, I don't know, whatever. But we was just Motown machine cranking, and I remember P pulled me aside, and he was like, yo, Money, you mad nice, and you nice with the hooks. Yo, you want to do a hook on my album? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we did You Already Know, right on the spot. So I wrote the hook on the spot, whatever. So the funny thing about that, when you listen to the record, when P starts the record, he goes, Big Zoo, what up? That's an oxymoron, ha. Because when I record, I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
And P was like 6'1", 6'2", so we were around the same height. But when I record, I always bring the mic down. I like to rhyme down to the mic. So when he walked in the booth behind me, the mic was low. So he had to lift the mic up. So he was looking at it like I was short. And I'm on the other side. I was like, Duke, we the same height. You know what I mean? Like, you're like an inch taller than me. Like, I'm 6'1", you know what I mean? So people would see me and be like, yo, I didn't know you was that tall.
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking Sean, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's my brother, man. I love him. That, you know, that's funny moments with him, man. But yeah, so that was how we met, man. You know what I mean? And that became my brother off the rip, man. Like, family. You know
Likewise, that cat. One of the funniest people I've ever met.
Without a doubt.
Like,
without a doubt.
Jokes.
I have a billion stories with Sean, man. Without a doubt. That's my brother.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really, really do admire about you is just the way that you've approached music from a business standpoint. You've always been laser focused and really smart about the way that you promote your albums, the music you put together.
Thank you.
Where did that come from, that sense of independence? Because like we said just now, you were signed to Duck Down. You've been, you know, you've always been in a position where you've been able, Mellow, and Mellow is probably a good example. You've always been in a position where you could move the way that you want to move. Where did that come from, like that sense of, because that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, even outside of music, are trying to figure out. And you've always had that. Where did that come from?
Part of it is being from New York, just the home of the hustle. Another part is necessity. You know, like this is the way I gotta do it in order for it to work and because I don't got nobody with me.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like even coming down here, the love all y'all showed me was through the roof. Free studio time when I would come down and beats, and you know, nobody ever said, yo, Sky, you need $1,000 for that beat. Like that never happened. You know what I mean? So it was love. But there's only but so much heads could do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't signed to J League. If I needed anything, Doe would always be there. You know what I mean? Doe was my brother. But I wasn't on papers, so I respect all that. I never asked for much. You know what I'm saying? I don't ask for nothing. Like I'm the one who just go get it. You know, so I never really had nobody like, yo, it's my man right here. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like I never really had that, so I had to go get it. And perfect example, man, when we did Cloud 9, when me and Ninth did Cloud 9, the way that happened, so after I started coming down in like 05 or whatever, every time Ninth would come to New York, he would hit me. Because we was both in the sneakers and and I was the new, you know, the new hot rapper, and basketball. So every time he would come to New York, he would hit me. He'd be like, yo, I'm in New York, I just landed, boom, boom. So wherever he was at, I'd drop what I was doing and go see him. Sneaker store, radio station, label, studio, whatever. I'm going to see Ninth. Everything stops right now, you know what I'm saying? So I would go get with Ninth, and he had this thing where every time we saw each other, he would hand me a CD. And I'm a dude with a regular job, and I got Jay-Z's new hot young producer giving me 20 beats every time I saw him. Every time I saw him, he would go, yo, Sky, yo, put that in your pocket. And it would be a beat CD, you know what I mean? So, and it would be 10, 15, 20 beats. So one day I'm in the crib, in like early 06, I'm in the crib, and I remember, man, it was like just boredom. Nothing was on the radio, nothing was on TV. And I was like, yo, I'm going through CDs in the house, and I was like, yo, I got all these Ninth beat CDs that I never really did nothing with. It was just so much. It was here. So I started playing all these CDs in the crib, and I was like, yo, it's so much heat on these shits that I wasn't even really like paying attention to.
That's the reputation he had too.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So I'm writing them down, yo, 1, 5, and 3 off this one, yo, 10 and 12 off this. So I'm writing them down, and I was like, yo, what if I did a project to these shits? So I did 9 records in 2 days in New York. Went to my man's studio on Long Island. I did 9 records in 2 days, and I stopped right there. I booked the trip to North Carolina like a week later. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to North Carolina, try to set this up. I hit heads, yo, it's cool if I come down. Yeah, come down. So I went down for like 2-3 days. I booked the trip, stayed at Dunny crib. So when I touched down, I'm in the studio, Ninth, what up, boom, boom, boom. I say, yo, here, put that in your pocket. And it was a CD of the 9 joints. I kind of did his shit to him. Yo, here, take that. So I'm at Dunny crib. We got time, right? Because these stories
Sure, go ahead. What are we looking like on time, right? We good?
Right.
Go ahead.
So next morning, I'm at Dunny crib, sleeping on the couch or whatever. He calls me, 8 o'clock, taking his kids to school. Yo, what is this on DCD? you know, D. What is this on DCD, cuz? I was like, what's up? This shit is crazy, DCD, cuz. I was like, oh man, he's blasting the Bodega in the background, which was one of the joints. And I was like, oh man, appreciate it. He was like, yo, this shit is crazy. He was like, yo, what you want to do with it? I was like, you tell me. He was like, all right, let's finish it. Come to the studio today. Went to the studio, so we did 3 songs in 1 day. So that's how it became 12 songs in 3 days, because it was 9 in 2 days, then it was a week or whatever in between, and then the third day, the third day was 3 songs. So it was 12 songs in 3 days, and when we was done, I was like, yo, bro, if you give me the ball, I'm gonna run. I promise you, I'm gonna run. And he was like, run, you got it. I was like, yo, I don't need you to do nothing. I was like, all I need you to do is when motherfuckers ask you if it's real, say it's real. Because there was a moment where a lot of people was taking Ninth beats off YouTube and, you know, SoundClick or, you know, the
Napster
Lawn.
at one point, people were downloading from
Yeah,
Napster.
the Lawn and all that, and they was making whole projects with them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I didn't want to be looked at as that. Nobody knew me. If you ain't live in New York, even if you ain't live in Brooklyn, you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I couldn't have that. So I was like, yo, all I need you to do is if motherfuckers ask you, tell them, yeah, it's real. I'm behind that. I was like, I don't need you to do nothing else. He was like, it's done. Go do it. And I ran. I got the deal for it. I got the artwork done. I got the press for it. I got the looks. I got the radio spins. I got the college spins. I got at the listening session, the in-store event at Fat Beats. I did everything myself. You know what I mean? Me and my manager at the time. I had a manager at the time, Rick. But I was running. I said, bro, if you give me the ball, I'm out.
And you still work like that, where you're very independent. You can take on all those roles.
Extremely. So that was why I broke down that story, because it's just like you said, the independent side. And I said, bro, give me the ball, I'm out.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got it. You know what I mean? And I just ran. And I remember him telling other people, like, yo, you see how Skyzoo running around? You see how he pulled that off? Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, as an example of, like, other up-and-comers of how to go get it.
And that's what I was going to ask you about, because now that's the norm. You know, artists are expected to, if you want to be successful, you kind of need to be that level of independent.
Absolutely. Even if, I tell heads nowadays, even if you're on a major, like if you're on an independent label or you're not signed, you got to be like that. But even on a major, you got to move like that. You see Cole running around, getting his hands dirty, doing what he got to do. You see French Montana getting his hand, whoever it is, you know, fucking all these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, they out, you got to get your hands dirty now. You can't just, you know, be in the lab and roll a L and chill. Like, you got to get your hand, you got to do your social media. You got to set up your so-and-so. You got, these dudes is hitting DJs they self now. You know, the label's doing it, but you on Def Jam or Sony or whatever, you're still, I got a relationship with Self. I got a relationship with Flex. I got a relationship with whoever, you know what I'm saying? And you setting up your Breakfast Club and all that and your Sway, like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's a new day, man. Like, you know, it's still like when you're on a major, you still get those extra plugs and that push, of course, but you still got to get your hands dirty no matter what. Long gone are the days of just kicking back while 40 other people do it.
I love hearing that, because that's the same way that I've had to run my company.
Right.
You know, there was a time with Complex. In fact, when we first met, I was doing the design, I was doing the accounting, I was doing the web development.
That's real.
You know, I was doing all that stuff, and now, you know, sometimes my team looks at me like, you did all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
That was the way I had to do it. I had to do the web, you know, and now I'm in a position where I can do things differently, but it's incredible to hear you say that as a musician, and this is the parallel that I always try to make. You know, with entrepreneurship and musicians, I don't think you guys get your just due when it comes to being business people.
Right.
You know, you
you
got to do all those things.
Because I think there's a lot of assumptions of just
a lot of them.
Oh yeah, this is happening because it's supposed to happen. Like, nah, that shit could have not happened. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't stay up all night and do that, listen, man, like, man, 03, 04, before I even knew any of y'all, 03, 04, I'm pressing up 5,000 mixtapes in New York, and I'm running around the city getting them out while I got a regular job. Bro, I would come home from work and go in the living room with these huge boxes of mixtapes and blank slimline cases and another huge box of, you know, the cardboard covers printed out from the print shop. And I'm sitting there banging out 5,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is all, I'm sitting there putting on Chappelle Show DVD, and I'm sitting there in 2004 putting them together like all night. And I still got to leave the house by 7 to get to work in time, and not sleeping. Like, I did that shit for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd go to work, and then after that, go to whatever show, whether it was, you know, BB King's or SOBs or whatever in New York, and be out there with my shoulder bag with 50 CDs in it. Yo, boom, 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 handing my shit out. And I'm watching everybody else sell their tapes, and nobody knew them. And I never understood that. I respect the hustle. I respect that whole era and that culture, which, especially in New York, where you go out in Times Square, whatever, and you get busy. But I never understood being so against the free, because it's an investment, right? So, like, if you go in the store, somebody hand you a brown paper bag in the clothing store, yo, $10. What's in here? Nah, don't worry about it. It's $10 though. That's the equivalent of that. Like, you don't know what this tape sound like. This shit could be trash. You know. So how you gonna press some lady walking down the street in front of Fat Beats? Yo, $10, $10, and it's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it sounds like. You don't even have a speaker out here for me to hear a little bit.
So in business, in our world, you have not expressed to me what the value is in order for me to even spend money. What is your value proposition?
And they just pressuring and bullying. And again, much love to that culture, because it's a whole culture in New York like that. And I get it, man. As somebody from outside, I get it. But I always saw the other side of it. Like, I never pressed nobody in the street. Yo, $5, $10. It was always free. So when people would be like, nah, I'll be like, no, it's free. And then they would be like, oh, okay, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And then I remember years later, I'm jumping forward, and we can go back or whatever, but I'm jumping forward. I remember in 09 when the Salvation came out, and I had the in-store at Fat Beats. Now I'm buzzing, and I'm on Jamla, Duck Down, blah, 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 and all this stuff, and, you know, Ninth and all that. And this dude came up to the table at the in-store, and, you know, I signed the vinyl or whatever and give it to him. And he goes, yo, man, in 05, I was at SOBs, and you gave me a CD. You gave it to me for free. He was like, that CD never left my car. And he was like, that's why I'm here.
Come on.
And I was like, that's why I gave this shit out for free.
Come on,
so that you could be here years later and never leave. You
That's
know
what
what
I'm
I mean?
talking
Like,
about.
now, if I'm like, yo, $5, $10, and you like, fuck you then. You're not here at Fat Beats copping for $20.
Right.
You're not here invested in my career and riding out however many years later, and now we 15 years deep in the game. You're not here for that. If I'm pressing, no, come on, bro, it's $10, man, because, yo, man, I'm out here trying to get it. Nah, bro, like, yo, take that. I gave my shit to everybody for free.
We, a lot of times, and Samantha's back there in the crew, she can tell you about this. She's our digital strategist here at Complex. But a lot of times we talk about moving someone into the funnel, all right, in a marketing funnel.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you did. You
Right.
giving them that CD. You said, okay, they may or they may not become a part of this funnel.
Absolutely.
So you gave them that CD, and boom, once they got it and became a fan, now
Right.
you're a part of it, because they may go out and look for more.
Right.
Now they may sign up for the mailing list. Now they may follow you on social media.
Right. Now they at the show.
Now they at the
I don't even remember
shows.
giving them that out, you know what I mean? But it happened, and they did. They remember.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
And that's
absolutely.
important. Like that's amazing to hear you say that. Now, I can't let you go without talking about what happened in 2020.
What happened in 2020? COVID?
The whole pandemic happened in
Oh, no,
2020.
I thought it was something music related. Oh, because you skipped like 12 years.
Yeah,
So now-
no. I said the reason why I did that is
Yeah, no,
because
that's cool.
we're talking about just kind of like this hustle and the way that you handle business,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really interested in how you pivoted
Yeah.
when you couldn't do that. When you now obviously this is years later, so you're not giving
of
out
course.
CDs,
Right,
and you've
right.
changed, but you're not able to perform.
Right.
You have to change how you do business. You have to figure out a way to make money and then keep things going, because you
Yeah.
still produced an album in the
Right.
middle of the pandemic. What did that look like from a business perspective and trying to pivot in that way? And how were you able to really plan for the future of that release while we were in that pandemic?
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, I dropped 2 projects during the pandemic while recording a third, which dropped in, I feel like we still in the middle of the pandemic, but you know what I mean? Like,
It dropped in what, summer? The summer 2 of the pandemic. Let's say
right.
that.
So I dropped All the Brilliant Things June of 21.
Right.
But I dropped 2 projects in 2020. So like right smack dab in the middle, when there wasn't no vaccine, it wasn't no, we gonna open back venues and you could do a show, none of that. Like, so I dropped 2 projects and I didn't get to do 1 show off those projects. You know what I mean? And what happened, I had tours and different things aligned overseas and all that locked in, because I go overseas every year. I go to Europe, I go to South Africa, I go to Japan, Australia, every year, like clockwork, especially Europe and South Africa.
Yeah.
I'm over there just as much as I'm home, you know? So I had shit lined up, you know what I mean? Like April 2020, South Africa, May through June of 2020, all of Europe, the UK, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, that shit was lined up. Damn. It was done. Like, done deal. And talking to my mans in like early March, like, yo, how's it looking? We gonna push back a little bit? You think we can still pull it off? And my guys over there was like, yo, I think it's dead.
Yeah.
'Cause this thing is, you know what I mean? This thing is a different beast. And just going back to where you was at with it, when all that happened, man, you just gotta reroute. You know, you still gotta eat one way or another. You know, you gotta adapt in the jungle. So for me, it was, the first part of me really feeling it was not having studio access.
Oh, damn.
That was when it was, because I was in the middle of All the Brilliant Things. The Bluest Note was done. I did that summer of 2019, but we were dropping in April. We planned to drop it in April of 2020, so that was done. But I had to align that and do Zoom press and all these interviews on Zoom and all that.
Damn.
And then I was working on Milestones, which was my Black Fatherhood EP. So
Which is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things I've ever done. So I had to get all that stuff done, and I ain't had no lab. And being in Atlanta, you know, I moved to Atlanta recently. I had, you know, different labs that I would work out of. Shout out to my man AJ, shout out to my man Renegade, like guys that I would use all the time for recording. Couldn't get with them. You know, everybody was like, yo, the studio shut down, this COVID thing. But this is like 30 days into COVID. This isn't like now where we know how to maneuver. It is like 30 days into it. So my house, you know, I live in the burbs, got a house with the finished basement and all that. And I had said, I'm gonna build a studio in the basement. The first thing I did was build a man cave in the basement because, hey, you know, whatever.
That's what we all do.
Yeah, I was like, I can go to the studio. My man got the lab over here. I'm building a man cave, you know what I mean? So, but I was like, yo, I gotta build this lab now. And I went on Guitar Center and just banged out on my credit card and just boom, let's go. And I bought everything in one shot. And shout out to my man Pocket. He came over and we built the studio together, cracked a 6-pack and just went for it. And now I record at the crib solely. You know what I mean? Like I mix at other places, but everything since the spring of 2020, I record at my house. If I don't have to go to somebody else's studio for whatever, I'm recording on my shit at my house. My sound is great. All the brilliant things. It's at the house.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because, you know,
at the house.
A lot of times I ask people at this point, you know, what did you take away from this whole experience? But it sounds like you did that.
For sure. Because I definitely wouldn't have built the studio yet. I definitely would have just been chilling, going to my man's spot, my other man's spot. I had options. You know, I was blessed in that regard. I definitely wouldn't have spent thousands of dollars on the studio. Even though that was my plan, I was comfortable. I had a lab here, different people I could go to and get right and all that. But the pandemic made me build the studio, cop the equipment, get right, you know, and I'm glad I did. I mean, we don't want this pandemic, but that was the one little really minuscule thin silver lining that came from this for me. It forced me to do that. You know, so once I did that, I was recording at the house. I was like, I ain't going nowhere.
And it's just the way it's going to be from the
future. 100%. Oh yeah, I'm at the crib with it.
Well, what about performing? What was the plan, I guess, before we got to this place where things are opened up a little bit? So how were you planning on pushing things? Or did you just say, okay, let me wait until things open up?
Yeah, you know, it kind of was on the fly. We didn't know how to navigate in this thing. It was on the fly. So I knew all the shows was dead. You know, I never performed Milestones. I never performed The Bluest Note because we couldn't, you know? So everything was just on the fly with it. And then even shows, my first show since the pandemic and all that hit was June 21. It was the album release concert for All the Brilliant Things.
Wow.
You know what I mean? My last show before COVID and all that was December 2019. So from December 2019 to June 21,
that's nuts.
I hadn't performed. I don't think anybody did. Like that's everybody, nuts. I think has the same show story of you. I ain't do a show in like a year, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
well, see, I think in 2019 I made the decision. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and see like my friends when they go and perform in places I want to go to. I'm gonna go to that, and then people that I just want to see. So in that November, I went to see Black Star and DJ Premier when they were in Denver. And cool. I mean, Black Star, come on, Talib Kweli, and come on.
That's a sick show.
So I flew out there to see that, and that was in December. And so then we had the Little Brother run as well. That was already going on. So
caught them in Atlanta.
Yeah. So, so I went to Atlanta for that, and that was it.
Right.
That was it.
Like, right. Yeah, it was over. It was over, man. But you know what also happened during COVID, as far as you know, the business and entrepreneurial side, the merch game really went bananas.
Oh, word.
Because people were home with nothing to do, and they were just ordering. I think for everybody, like online shopping was through the roof during COVID. You know what I mean? Like everybody was just buying everything. You were home, stuck in the house, you couldn't go nowhere, whatever. And you're just sitting there on Amazon going crazy, and you're sitting there on, you know, whatever going crazy, and you're buying everything. So people were hitting me like, yo, you got any shirts? You got any vinyl? You got any? All right, yeah, I got a couple. I was saving them for the run. I got boxes of these and all that. All right, yeah, you can have them. So it just started rolling, and the merch thing got really crazy during COVID, which was dope. So I think that was one of the ways that I was able to cope. I was able to still ghostwrite from the crib once I had the studio up, so that was cool. Obviously, selling verses, everybody knows, you know, selling verses is huge in hip hop. I was able to still do that, so that was great. And I was even able to still like structure new deals for future albums and stuff, because as long as I can record and people can press play, even if they can't leave their house, people will press and play more that they was in their house. There's damn nothing to do.
Yeah.
So they were just in the house listening to everything. You know what I mean? Like,
you still see that happening now with the...
Yeah, I think it's a mind frame that people are in now. You got so many people that don't even want to leave the house anymore. So many people that weren't comfortable being out, and that's fine. You have people that maybe introvert or anxiety or whatever, and that's fine. You know, we respect all that and support it. But I think so many people were comfortable of, oh, I don't have to go out and be around people. I don't have to go out and be around this and that. I'd rather be in the house. Now it's the norm to kind of just be secluded and vibe and do your own thing, which is great. You know, I'm a little more of an extroverted person. I don't have a problem being around people and being out, but I also like being in the crib as well. And I think a lot of people really took to that lifestyle. You see people everywhere like, I don't want to go back to work. I'm cooking on my lunch break. I'm doing this. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? So like people like, I don't want to go back to the office. I'm trying, you know what I mean? So I think that frame of mind is still kind of here to stay. And I know for a fact, streaming numbers went up for everybody during COVID because people were home with nothing to do. Just like Netflix and Disney Plus and all that. Like, everybody was just home.
How do you see this change in music and the entire industry? Like, let's just say, and me and one of our mutual friends, we talk about this a lot, just like, it's possible we may be in this thing for a few more years.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It really, I think we're gonna be, but I think we're gonna figure out how to navigate and maneuver through it. Just like how we currently are. Stuff is opened back up, everybody's doing their thing. You just gotta be smart with the way you move. Mask up, sanitize, whatever, however you feel about the jab, they call it, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you know, however you feel about that, you just move accordingly. But I think we are in it for a minute. Shows, I mean, I've done a handful of shows since, you know, since June of this year, and they've all been packed.
Word?
Yeah. People come, but I knew that was gonna happen with everybody, not just me, but everybody, because people missed out on shows for a year. So I knew the moment the show game was back, everybody was going to everything. Like before, you would be like, okay, I wanna do shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't really want to mess with Sunday through Wednesday because people got to go to work. It might be a lighter turnout. If you was normally getting 5,000 people, now you might get 2,500 or whatever. You know, but people got to go to work. Like hip hop shows are late, whatever. Now you can do a show on a Monday. It's packing because people miss it. Wow. You know what I'm saying? People miss it. People are like, yo, I used to be able to go see this and this and this, or you might have taken it for granted. Now you're going to everything. Now you're buying every piece of merch at the table because it's been a year since you've been able to really get out and hear some music and some entertainment and enjoy it. And that's a huge part that came out of this. Every show I've done since all this has been jumping, like wall to wall jumping. They ready. They're like, I ain't getting nothing in a year. I need some music, you know? We
talked about this a little bit. How do you manage, and maybe it's not even a thing that you manage, it's more of the venue, but you know, the people that are coming in, are you ever worried about, yo, this could be a super spreader event?
All the time.
Yeah.
Because there's no way around it. There's no way around it. I'm super worried. I'm still going to go out there, give the people what they want, do my job.
Right.
You know, it's business at the end of the day. It's not like I'm going out on vacation. Yo, we going Vegas and we going chill. It's not that. It's not like we playing around. This is work. I got to do this to make sure my house is good, my family's good, blah, blah, blah. My son wants a lot of things. He gets everything. Like, I got to make sure all that stuff still rolls, you know? So it ain't me going out there to hang out and get drunk. Nah, it's, yo, let's go to work. So I gotta go work. You know what I mean? But I'm always worried about that. Like, yo, somebody in here could have it. Somebody in here probably does have it, whether they know or not. Somebody in here might have it and be irresponsible knowing that they have it, but didn't want to miss out on the show because they haven't seen the show in a year.
Boom.
You know what I'm saying? And no mask and there's no way to know. You know, so. You know, I mean, people know I went through it, you know what I mean? And I'm all the way, you know, I don't have a problem talking about it. I talked about it on social media, you know, I'm all the way protected, you know what I mean? Mask, sanitize, vax, everything, and I still got it, you know, and thank God I'm good now, and it wasn't what it could have been, but I got it with all of the layers. It's like you put on 5 coats and you still get frostbite, you know what I mean? All the layers going out in the snow, and I still was cold, you know what I mean? I still got it, but thank God I'm here to talk about it. A lot of people aren't as blessed, but you just got to move a certain way, you know?
What do you think venues could do to make it safer for the audience and safer for the musicians, the entertainers, and even the bar staff? What can venues do, just in your experience and the things that you've seen? Are there any precautions that they could take to make that a different experience, or is it just...
The vax card.
The vax card.
But, you know, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like,
obviously, I'm vaxxed up, so I'm all about the vax. I'm on that side of the fence. Like, yo, it's vax life, baby. You know what I mean? I'm on that. But I'm not preaching to people and tearing people down.
No, that's your thing. Yeah, I get it.
Yo, if you on that side, that's cool. It's love, baby. We good. You know what I mean? If you on my side with it, it's love. You know, I'm not here to preach and beat nobody up for not having the vax. I'm not judging nobody. But the vax card is the easiest way, but it's also the most controversial way.
Yeah.
Because people gonna be like, I ain't with that. You got these motherfuckers selling fake vax card. Well, if you going out of your way to do all that,
you might as well go ahead
and get
the
the shot, or stay home and stream the show.
Or that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you going out of your way, you got on the low, handing you an envelope like you in Snowfall, and you know what I'm saying, handing you an envelope with your passport and your vax card. Yo, bro, just get the joint, man.
Knock it out.
Or stay home. Or stay home, but you got to get fake card from this country and and fake numbers. And come on, man. Like, you're doing too much, you know?
You know, there's certain things that are, I think, against people's liberties and their freedoms, and there are things that are not.
I dig that. Yeah.
But the other thing is as a business, you also have your own freedoms. Your business has obligations. It has choices it can make. Do you think, from a business perspective, that this is the best way to go to require those vax cards?
Absolutely, because it's nothing is 100%. Nothing is foolproof, but you know, it's another layer of a little more protection. Of being like, we have a better shot of today being a good day at the restaurant, at the bar, at the venue, at the movie theater, at the whatever. You know, like we have a better shot if this part is in play. But I get that everybody don't feel it. I got friends who's anti-vax. I got family that's anti-vax. I don't look at them any different. It's
and
love.
We were talking about it. We have mutual friends that publicly go out there.
Right,
and,
you know what I'm saying? Like whether they celebs or they regular 9-to-5ers or whatever, I get it. You know, like it's no judgment here, but don't judge me because I'm all vaxxed up and proud. You know what I mean? But you know, that's just what it is.
So what are your thoughts on misinformation and disinformation?
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I mean, ignorance is the key to all of this. You know, the misinformation and everybody wanting to be the smartest person in the room. Let me tell you something, man. I feel I'm a very intelligent individual. I was advanced placement classes for a lot of my scholastic career in my life. I feel like I'm very intelligent. I never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Never.
I mean, I'm in the wrong room. You know what I
You
mean?
still need to learn.
Yeah, you never stop learning until you're in a box. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly
I never
right.
want to be the smartest person in the room. Teach me something, but know what you're talking about if you're teaching me something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, you know,
That's another reason why it's important to curate your circle.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that earlier, just around being around certain people and certain people in our circle, but that's why it's important to curate the people you're around.
A lot of this is everybody wanting to be the smartest person in the room. Like,
Yeah.
yo, nah, because so-and-so and so. Nobody's holding a spoon to their arm and seeing if it sticks, because it's not sticking. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's putting liquid in your arm and they tracking you. They tracking you on your phone, dude. Like, it's done. You've been tracked since 99 when they gave us these shits. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You're tracked, bro. Like, you talk about, you know, yo, I want them new J's. Yo, them shit's crazy. You go on the gram, it's an ad right there. Boom, StockX, new J's. Yo, what the fuck? They tracking you, bro. It's done, bro. Like, get out of here with that. But again, no judgment, man. However you want to live for you and your family, I respect that. But the way I live for me and my family, this is what it is. And I'm proud to be on that side of the fence. And I was proud to be able to get back to work. Funny story, the way I wound up getting the vax, it came from a business aspect, since I know this is an entrepreneurial conversation. Oh, man, I was in Buffalo. Shout out to my brother, Westside Gun, Griselda. Those are my brothers. Everybody know that. That's my family. I've seen the
pictures. They're really friends.
No, that's yo, we be at each other's house
real.
for holidays.
Yeah.
Like that's my, especially Wes, all of them, like they all fam, but like me and Wes hang out the most because he lives closest to me. So we hang out the most, but they're all my brothers. Khan, Benny, all of them. Anyway, I was in Buffalo when they had the store opening. So you know, supporting all of them. And I wasn't vaxxed yet. It was cool, mask up, blah, 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 whatever. And I remember just doing so much work out there on the humble. I went out there just to support the store opening, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The store is crazy in Buffalo that they built, bananas. And I went out there just to support that, but people found out I was in Buff and wanted to work. Yo, how much for a verse? Yo, how much for a video? Boom. So I wound up doing like 5-6 things that weekend. On the humble, just boom. You know what I mean? Like, yo, word. So people just hitting me wanting to work.
Right.
And while I'm working, I'm nervous because I don't know who's what and who's what. And that's just where we are.
Yep.
If you're around me, I fully anticipate you being nervous because you don't know what I'm doing at home. You don't know, you know what I mean? Like, that's not disrespect at all. I wouldn't take it that way.
Man, it's like going to the club in the early 2000s.
You know what I'm saying? So I just was like, yo, like, I'm tired of working with fear.
Yeah.
Anywhere. It wasn't just about there, it was about anywhere. I'm tired of, I don't want to work in fear. I don't want to be in the studio with this person and it's like, I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
I don't want to do all that no more. And that's what made me go get it. And I was like, yo, when I go home, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened.
So you were in Buffalo. I'm curious because I watch a lot of news and I pay a lot of attention to markets and what's going on. But I'm curious, what kind of differences in public perception have you noticed geographically as you move from place to place with regards to this entire pandemic and the way people are handling it? Like, is it different in Buffalo than in Atlanta?
Well, the South, you know, from what I've seen, this is my first time in North Carolina in a minute, but the South, from what I've seen, is definitely a little more reckless with it, for sure. You know, I don't know why. I mean, we can have some theories on why, but you know, the South, it doesn't mean everybody, you know, is on it like that, but it's definitely a little more reckless. You go to New York, Buffalo, or even the 5 boroughs, like they on it.
Yeah.
Masked up, like they on it. You know what I mean? Like I go back home to New York and everybody's masked up.
Yeah.
Everybody, every restaurant is on that, yo, locked down, baby, we ain't playing that.
Yeah.
You go to the South, whether it's Texas or Georgia or the Carolinas, whatever, it's loose. It's like, you don't want to do it? Yeah, I don't got to do it. You know what I mean? It's loose, you know what I mean? And so, and you're seeing it in the numbers, the spikes and the this and the that, and it's happening in the South, you know, and I think it's a frame of mind of, you know, seeing New York, we're so used to being on top of each other and living on top of each other and not having that freedom of that anyway, that telling us we have to put a mask, it's not the end of the world. In the South, everybody got land, everybody stretched out. Your frame of mind since the day you're born is freedom, whether it's in a literal sense of stretching out or like mentally and subconsciously, like of just having your own and being able to be free and do what you want in that regard, which the irony of that, right? Doing what you want, being free in the South. But
irony.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But like just that freedom of being able to stretch out and you got your space and y'all house is all the way over there. So I think when you put these constraints on people, they're like, I'm not used to that. In New York, we used to that. Projects is 22, 23 floors and there's 8 families on each floor and we live here, 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 here. And everywhere you go, you surrounded. You never get a break. You know what I mean? Like, never get a break in New York. You get on a train, it's 30,000 people. You never get a break.
Do you think part of it has to do with just how bad New York was hit when things started? Because it seemed like New York was
probably
like,
part of it. That's
like
probably part
Mad
of it.
Max Thunderdome for a second.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. It ripped through New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of the first. It ripped through New York, you know? Thank God I was in Atlanta by that point. It ripped. I think about it like, yo, if I was in New York living in the sty in my apartment before I moved, if I was still there with my family, with this going on, we definitely would have got it back then.
Yeah.
Because there's no room to just, all right, we're gonna quarantine but still be able to live. How you quarantine in your crib this big in Brooklyn? You know what I mean?
It's not a thing. It's not. That's another reason why it kind of, you know, it did what it did.
Absolutely, because I mean, you never get away. Like you get on the elevator in the building and there's 5 other people in the elevator with you. You're not one at a time on the small elevator. You don't got time for that. You gotta go.
So I got a couple of more questions. Time check. How are we looking?
50 minutes.
We have 50 minutes.
We barely talked about music.
That's what I was about to say. I need to talk about music. I was getting ready to ask you
it.
about that. So I wanted to, and this is the reason partially why I'm segueing into this, because you were talking about New York. You talked about Brooklyn and just kind of like how things are different. But this latest project, brother, man, I don't know how many times I've already told you how proud I am of you on this joint.
You, brother. Thank you.
It's so many layers to it. What is the inspiration behind? Because I can see a little bit about gentrification. You know, giving people their flowers. You know, there were a lot of different things that you explored, and doing music with your friends. You know. Where did this all come from? And tell me about the cover. Tell me about the title. Tell me about everything, because everything kind of goes together. Even the shirt that you're wearing right now, it's got like, there's a piece of the cover there. Yeah, talk to me. Where is this coming from? The whole concept and everything, because it's deeper than just music. And that's why I said we got to talk about this too.
Yeah, just being fed up. That's literally like the most basic explanation for it, and I can get deeper with that for sure, but I was fed up, man.
And
like,
all the beautiful things, by the way.
all the brilliant things.
All the brilliant things, excuse me. Because who did Beautiful? You did another joint called Beautiful something, didn't you?
Well, I had a single called The Beautiful Decay.
That's why I messed it up. Okay. All the
yeah.
brilliant. That's why I was like, something beautiful.
Yeah, all the brilliant things. Being fed up, you know what I mean? I was just like, at the time, had I moved yet? Yeah, I think I had moved by the time I started thinking about the concept and all that. But I would still be back in New York all the time. I'm in New York every month. I'm back around the way, whatever. It's like I never left. And just watching my neighborhood change. Just literally watching it and saying, okay, I know this neighborhood like the back of my hand. I walk this neighborhood with my eyes closed, like, you know, Bird Box or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever that movie was called. Like you could blindfold me and I won't get lost or hit by a car. I know where I'm at.
Until a point.
Yeah, you know, so it's just like watching all that change I was fed up, man. I was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And then how that goes hand in hand with the culture and the vultures within it and the cultural appropriation and being taken from us. And I feel like they all go hand in hand. And I just wanted to explore that. I wanted to talk about that. And I wanted to say, well, you can't sit here and feel a way about something and not do something to fix it or change it or correct it, or you got to do your part. Whether it hits and makes the change or it sparks the change, or at least you could go to bed saying, yeah, I did my part.
Yeah.
You know, how you gonna beef about this and not contribute or donate or whatever. So I said, yo, my next record, I'll make it the whole thing about gentrification and cultural appropriation. Every song is a story. And
That's amazing.
thank you. And the cover, so COVID did this too. Crazy thing is the cover, so I'm in New York in February 2020, right before COVID hit. And I'm walking down the old neighborhood, I'm in the neighborhood, whatever. And I stopped on Franklin and Fulton, and I just saw what I knew used to be a supermarket and all this other stuff for the neighborhood, and it was under construction, and it was becoming high-rise condo apartments, doorman, the whole thing. And it said, you know, under construction, coming soon for rent, blah, 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 blah. And I stopped, and I just looked up. And I was like, this is awful. And I just took out my phone and took a picture of it. And I was like, I gotta do something with this, I don't know what. A couple days later, it hit me. I said, yo, I get back home, I'm fly back up, and me and Miles, my son, my 3-year-old son, me and Miles gonna take a picture in front of this, and that's gonna be the cover. I want it to be like, I'm showing him, look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is where daddy's from, this is our neighborhood, look at what they're doing. So the plan was to fly back to New York in March and shoot the cover. COVID hit, can't go nowhere, blah, blah, blah. I'm pissed. Yo, I gotta do this cover, this shit is gonna be monumental, how am I gonna do it? So I'm saying, yo, get it illustrated, get it drawn. And I was like, yo, that would be crazy. And I was listening to some lo-fi instrumentals and this kid named Kupla, listening to his album, and his cover was so bananas. And I was like, yo, this is incredible, who did this? So I get on the Googles and I find out who did it. I send this dude a blind email, how you doing, boom, boom, trying to get with you on some art. He hits me back, we start going back and forth. Mind you, I have the idea of the building and Miles and I looking at it and the whole deal. So I went in the backyard and Miles and I took a picture, my Wiz took a picture of me and Miles pointing up at my garage, dressed and everything pointing up. And I sent dude both pictures from my phone. I said, combine the two and turn that into an illustration, man. And 2 weeks later, he did. And that was the cover that you see.
Oh my God.
First draft. He was like, you want any changes? I was like, nope.
That joint is dope. I think I hit you on the DM like, yo, who did this?
Yeah, nah, he's crazy. He does like children's books and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And he knocked it out the park on the first shot. So that was how that came about.
Nice.
So COVID did that too, because the cover would have been crazy with him and I as a photo looking at it.
Yeah.
But I think it hit twice as hard, the fact that it was illustrated.
does.
Because the colors and the vibe it gives you with the orange and the blue and the red sky, it looks like the sun is setting, and like that, it wouldn't have been like that if we
felt
took
like
a
a
picture.
dream.
Yeah, you know,
Looking
it
at
really did. It feels Disney.
Yeah.
But then you hear the music and it's so heinous, and I'm talking about outside and the changes in the corner and how we grew up, and my friends selling rocks, and now the neighborhood is selling coffee and wine and blah, blah, blah. And all you got that from this dreamy Disney-esque cover.
That's so cool.
That was how that came together. But as far as the music,
It sounds cautionary because there's even one part where you say, "Don't let this happen to you."
Yeah.
You're like mentioning a bunch of cities like,
Bed-Stuy
"Don't let this
burning.
happen
Yeah,
to
I'm
you."
like, please don't let this happen to you.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is all the cities I named, it's already happened.
Yeah, that's why I was just
And that
like,
was
"Yo,
on
it happened
purpose.
there."
Right, and that
And
was on
there.
purpose.
Yeah, okay.
Because I
okay.
knew that would start conversation.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
if you listening to it, you and your peoples or whatever, and you sitting there listening to it, and you hear your city shouted out, you like, yo, it's already happening.
Yeah,
I know, right? Because so and so and so.
Yep.
So now you having dialogue. So it was on purpose.
Brilliant.
Like that's why I did that.
Brilliant.
You know, I did that on purpose.
That is dope. That
Yeah,
is dope.
Thank you.
Can you talk a bit more about because it sounds like metaphoric on some level, the concept of bodega flowers.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that? Because you
Absolutely.
mentioned it a bunch of times throughout the album, and I get it, but I feel like it's a bigger conversation.
100%. So we live in an era now of giving flowers. Everybody likes, to say that, and I love that.
Yeah.
The appreciation. We went generations without getting appreciated, especially as our folk. We went generations without getting appreciated. So I love this idea of, yo, give so-and-so they flowers. You got motherfuckers in the hood, yo, give son his flowers. That's cool. Like, I fuck with that, So I'm breaking it down in the level of, as people who created this culture, as people who've been in these neighborhoods forever and built these neighborhoods up and had to endure what these neighborhoods did to us, as people who go through every day worrying if they're gonna get a phone call that the police ran down on their kid and it's another George Floyd situation or Breonna Taylor situation or whatever it may be, give us our flowers specifically before we take them. Because if we take them, it's going to be a different conversation.
Wow.
And you're starting to see us take them. If we got to go out there and snatch them, this whole thing is going to be different from y'all. You love our music. You love opening a restaurant with chicken and waffles and macaroni and cheese, and you love our fashion, and you love all that. That's beautiful. We created it for everyone to enjoy, not just us. Show us that same love when you're looking at us in the store, or when you see us get pulled over, or when you assuming you heard something next door but you're not sure what it was. Show us that same love that you have for what we create, what we built, what we've been through. Give us those flowers for us enduring all of this before we take these shits. Like, that's what Bodega Flowers is about.
It reminded me of the album cover I did for Pooh and Apollo. Words Paint Pictures.
Yeah.
The kid laying on his stomach.
Yep, I remember that.
With the crown and bullet holes in his back. And people kept asking me, God rest his soul, Combat Jack asked Pooh about it. And that's when it tripped me out, because I was like, oh, Combat Jack knows who I am.
Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah.
But he asked me about it, and what I was telling Pooh was he's wearing the crown because of our influence. Just like you talked about, that cultural influence.
Right.
But then it's just like, man, why are they throwing us away like this? Why are they killing us? Like, we affect the world on so many levels.
Everything.
But it's just
we're so disposable.
So disposable.
Absolutely.
And it's something that can make you sad. It can make you go through a whole bunch of different emotions. But hearing you say that validates a lot of things that I've been thinking in my mind. So thank you for saying that, and thank you for putting that on wax.
That's what that's what that song is about. It's just like, yo, give them up. You love everything we create and build and do, and TikTok dances and da-da-da-da-da and fashion and music. Cool, love it. We didn't make it for us. We made it to represent us, but we made it for everyone to enjoy. I mean, we pushed for people to respect hip-hop and take us serious. When they told us, yo, that shit will be over within 5 years, 35, 40 years later, we still running. So we pushed for, the only way for that to happen was for everyone to love it. It wasn't gonna be able to last this long with just us and it being our little niche thing. The world had to love it. So we wanted the world to love it. But at the same time, don't take the shit from us and try to tell us what to do with it and how we're not doing it right and how don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't dare do that. So show that same love to us the way that you show the love for what we've built and contributed and given to you, or we are going to take that love.
Yeah.
And when we take it, it's going to get real.
And I also understand you could have been a trap rapper. Is that the case?
Absolutely. Because, one of my favorite records. Because, that record, the thing about that record, my man called me, one of my mans I've known since, preteen, teenager, whatever, every day outside, running around and all that. And, he wound up real heavy in the street.
Yeah.
In and out of the joint, whatever, cool. And he gets out and he calls me. And, yo, Sky, yo, I'm out, boom, 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 whatever, yo. Oh, shit, yo, welcome home, blah, 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 all that, cool. So maybe a month later, he calls me, goes, yo, Sky, I need your help with something. I'm out, I'm trying to stay out. I got these young kids in the neighborhood or whatever running around, making the music, doing the rap shit. I'm not in the rap shit, I'm not no rapper, blah, 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 but I need to know how to go about this business-wise.
Right,
so he was like, yo, these kids is on the drill shit. They doing the drill shit and the club shit and all that. I know you do the backpack skateboard shit, but help me out if you can on the business side.
Yeah.
So I laughed. I said, bro, I never made a skateboard record in my life. You know what I'm saying? So we laughed and he was like, no, I don't mean it like that. And I ain't take it that way. I just wanted to fuck with him. But he was like, I just mean you don't do like the Future shit. You don't do the Migos shit. And I was like, nah, I get it. He was like, you do the real shit. You do the shit that we grew up on and the lyric, you do the real shit. But he was like, just help me out with the business side. So that sparked the idea of the record. And when I hung up the phone, that title just hit me in the face. I was supposed to be a trap rapper. Because what I'm saying on that record is, I grew up with guys who do everything the opposite of what my fans in my world are accustomed to. Like, you would know I grew up with these guys that are running New York and that are running around with all this in the trunk. Yeah. These are guys I grew up with every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I followed the path that my neighborhood and my surroundings and everyone was on, I would have easily been making music like Migos or Future or whoever. Or, you know what I mean? I would have easily been doing trap, street rap, because that's the world I grew up in. I didn't grow up in a world where, everybody was listening to you know, Slumville and this and this. And I was listening to Slumville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to G Unit, and then I was listening to Slumville. I was listening to the Locks, and then I was listening to Lil Brother. I was listening to, Swiss, and then I was listening to Madlib and Dilla. I was the only one in my neighborhood doing that. Everybody else was only listening to one side, and I was putting them on. Yo, you gotta listen to this shit called The Listening. This shit is crazy.
Dude,
Yo, you
that's
gotta listen to Slumville. You gotta listen to Donuts. They wasn't on that.
I did the same thing. That's why it's funny to me, because for me it was like the late '90s. So I'm listening to Woo.
Right.
We had Boot Camp, Cellar Dwellers, all them back then, and everybody else. They were on Master P, because we were in the South.
Right.
So Master P started popping.
No Limit.
No
Cash
Limit.
Money.
And I was just like, yo, shout out to Master P. But back then,
Absolutely.
I was like, yo, this is trash.
Okay.
I hated it.
It wasn't hitting you, right?
It wasn't my thing.
You wasn't
I
able
didn't
to relate.
I couldn't relate to it. I didn't understand it, but my friends did. A lot of people in the neighborhood, because it was the same situation.
Right.
And so they got it. And even though I hung out with these people, I still didn't get it.
Right.
Like, these were my friends, but I wasn't out there selling and doing what they were doing.
Right.
So I couldn't get it. They got it, but I was the same way. I was the guy putting my friends on to this, that, and the other. Oh, did y'all hear this new Pete Rock and Inspector Deck? Check this out.
Right.
Killer Army. Y'all know about Killer Army?
Right.
Put y'all to Killer Army.
So it was a similar thing.
Similar situation. So I get it. So it sounds very similar to me. And I don't want to hold you up too long, because I know we got to wrap. But what did you take from that as an asset? I like to consider myself as a person that has like this box of assets that I can use in order to enact success in my business, my creative endeavors, whatever. But that is a part. I know it's a part of me, so I would assume it's a part of you.
100%.
But that right there, how do you utilize that as an asset in the way that you do business and the way that you move in the world?
That whole just being from both sides of the fence.
Having both of them.
First of all, with the music, man, I'm not a pat myself on the back guy. I let other people do that. That is easily something I created, like that lane of being in both worlds. And there's a lot of rappers now that are on that, that are like, yo, I grew up outside, but I was listening to this, so I'm a little bit of this world and a little bit of that world. I care about the struggle, but I also wear polo. Like, I created that, man. Like, nothing for nothing. I created that. You go back to Cloud 9, I was on them 9th beats rapping about outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on them same beats that he could have gave LB, rapping about the bodega, the bodega. Like, I created that world. And there's a lot of guys running around. Some of the biggest artists in the game right now are on that. And they've told me, yo, Sky, you the reason I moved this way. And I'm honored by that. I'm not saying all this as a shot. I'm saying all this as appreciation. Like, yo, I'm acknowledging what I did, and I'm acknowledging the effect that it's had on rappers coming up. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that there's so many artists running around continuing this thing that I sort of created, So me being able to understand, like you said, how you didn't really get that side of it, I got both sides, because I really was hanging out with these guys every day. Like, I'm 13, 14 years old at my man crib playing NBA Live, and he's chopping rocks, and we're in the 8th grade.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I was with them.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just didn't, the music didn't hit me like they were into this. Yo, and I'm like, because I wasn't out there doing the things that they were doing.
Of course, right.
But I was
Same
with
here.
them. And it just seemed that that music resonated with them more than.
Of course,
I couldn't really get it like that.
No, absolutely. So like I was a fan of that as much as I was a fan of this, and my thing was just blending these two worlds. Just not because I gotta do something different, so I'm gonna take a little bit of this. It was just me being me. You know what I mean? It was just me being me, like straight up. So that's what that record is about, and it's everybody talks about that record, man. They love how the record came together. It really, like, that was it, you know what I mean? It was just me being me. Like, this is how I grew up. This is what I was listening to along with this.
Okay.
So here's how this all comes together. So then when you put it to the business side, I'm able to relate to all these different worlds.
Yeah.
You come to a Skyzoo show, it's skateboarders, it's dudes who hustle, it's girls in college, it's dudes in college who's getting ready to finish up, it's, kids who got their fists in the air and they only wear brown. You know what I'm saying? It's this whole different smorgasbord of just all these people. If you go to a so-and-so show, it's that crowd. You go, it's that. Yo, my shit is literally like just so mixed.
I noticed
crazy.
that.
And I love it.
When we did the show for Black Wall Street, that was actually my first time seeing you perform.
Okay.
I've known you this long, and I booked
that's
you for the
crazy.
show.
That's crazy.
But that was my first time seeing you perform.
That's crazy.
And what was crazy to me was watching the audience. Like, how diverse they were. And like you said, they knew your verse because remember the music went out. Flash's his laptop went out.
Went down,
and you started doing joints a cappella and they were doing them with you. And I was just like, no, he has fans.
Yeah, and you got like women in their early 40s. You got their sons who may be 18, who's like, it's so widespread out. And I think me being from these different worlds and not shunning any of the worlds, you know, like I'm the dude who made records about being outside and then I turned around and made a whole album about black fatherhood. Like, who's doing that? Like, that's what I mean when I say I kind of created this world when it comes to that, and there's a lot of guys who came from that, and they're rocking and rolling, and they're taking it, you know, even further, and I love that, you know, like, I'm that guy, because it's not about me saying, I gotta do something to stand out, and I need a gimmick. You couldn't pay me to have a gimmick. This is who I am. You know what I mean? This is who all those worlds make up me.
I think that's what makes the music sound so good, because it's super authentic to the point where there are songs where it's the way that you write it, you almost write it as if it's a stream of thought, so to speak, but it's a stream of thought that you can keep up with. Yeah. And you're just like, yeah, he's right. You're going along with the journey. Not too many songwriters can do that. You know, you have worked with a lot of people. I saw that you were working with DJ the Chicago Kid was on the album.
Yeah, on Bodega Flowers.
How did you pull that off?
Shout out to my man Steve, who's one of his managers out there in LA.
That's crazy.
Me and him been cool forever, man. And he's, you know, he works with BJ Daily, so you know he was able to kind of plug that up. Yeah, I think that was overdue. A lot of people wanted to see us.
I saw that and I was like, okay,
I think that was overdue.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, it's a beautiful project, and it's something that's different that I needed. That, you know, if you look at my no BS, if you look on my Spotify and you look at the top albums that I've been listening to over this whole year, yours is probably going to be number one.
That's amazing. Thank you, bro.
You know, I got you. And then right up under you, I got the Busta Rhymes album.
Okay.
You know,
super dope.
Because I love that. Because Knots is my man. I love his production on that.
Shout out to my brother Knots.
Yes,
absolutely.
Shout out to Knots and Sloan and the whole crew.
T. Sloan.
Yeah. So you know, but you just did your thing on it.
Thank you.
And there's so many things I could ask you. I know we're already crunched for time. Yeah. There was one other thing that I did want to ask you about regarding this album, this overall project. Is it your cousin, Charlemagne, talks about adult contemporary hip hop. And I love the fact that he's talking about this, but it's something where I'm noticing the genres are starting to change and fuse. And now we're getting to a place where an MC can talk about gentrification. Yeah. You know, we can talk about the things that are going on. Not to say we couldn't always do it.
Right. It makes people are more accepting to it. It makes more sense now because it's so wide now. That's, again, hip hop took off.
Yes.
So now you can talk about anything within hip hop, and yeah, we accept that. You know.
Do you see your future work going along that direction in terms of your subject matter being that diverse and, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I just talk about my life.
Yeah.
Every record, you know, Salvation, and then, you know, A Dream Deferred, which was about goals and dreams and, you know, all these desires that I had on the Salvation and, you know, these temptations, and me realizing the actuality of them versus what probably is just a dream based on the world that I'm in and how they shut all that down. So like, I made a music for my friends. That whole thing is about my friends and like how we came up and how 13 is such a pivotal age for boys becoming men, because that's when the world around you changes and you're caught in these two worlds. And, you know, it just, you know, in celebration of us, is the blackest album I could ever make. And I did that on purpose. I wanted to make an extremely black album celebrating us, but also answering the call to why we go through some of the things we go through.
Yeah.
Some of them are not our fault. Some of them are our fault. Like, you know, so there's always, it's just me. You know what I mean? Like, that's always what it is, no matter what. Every project, man, I don't go into it with any other thing but representing me and mine.
You're doing your thing, man.
Thank you.
And you've been writing for a lot of people. I know you can't tell us everybody you've been writing for. Still not gonna find out. Come on, man.
I can't tell nobody.
Come on, dude.
But I've been blessed to be able to ghostwrite for a long time now, and that's another side of the entrepreneurial side that you know we've been talking about.
For Diddy.
Nah.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to find out. That's all. I'm just throwing names out. Just throwing names out. Jay-Z. It's okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You know, but you know, so I've been able to do that, and that's been great. You know, that's a cool way to like flex the other muscle.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't in that world on some, I was supposed to be a trap rapper, I wouldn't be able to pen for all these other people.
Oh, you still not gonna say all these? Oh, come on,
all these
man.
other people. Because the people I'm penning for,
I'm messing with you.
the people I'm penning for are not in my world. There's not
yeah.
like, I hate the term, but like underground backpack. Like there's not guys in that world that are getting help with the pen like that.
Yeah,
There's a few, but it's not like that. The other world is where all the penning is at.
Yeah.
That's the world where it's like, yo, we need somebody to come get busy. If I wasn't able to morph into that side, the trap side and blah, 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 and just knowing that world and knowing the money and the fly and the flash and the hustle and the blah, blah, blah. If I wasn't able to morph into that, I wouldn't be able to get busy over there.
That's amazing.
I'm able to morph into that because I know that world like the back of my hand.
You know, I like to, I tease you about the fact that you won't tell me who you're writing for. You never told me, but I always tease you about it, but it's one of the things that makes me really, really proud of you. The
Thank
fact
you.
that you're able to do that and you're working with people that you can't tell me about and
Right.
tell other people about. I know we're running long, but that's because you and I
Fine,
see
man,
each other,
whatever you need.
you know, whenever.
I'm
But
here. Man, I flew in for this. So it's whatever, like whatever you need.
tell me this though, and we're gonna go ahead and close it up. What else do you have going on? I know you got some things coming on. You just dropped this project. You're gonna be back out here in December for what I'm
December,
understanding.
yeah, I'm gonna be at the Poorhouse in December.
Okay.
So we'll reconnect and get everybody
We're gonna
tapped
do
in
that.
with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, other things outside of music that I'm very excited about. Obviously, the merch has been crazy. You know, I'm all my merch. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
sir.
merch has been crazy.
Sky and Pete, gotta
Yeah,
represent.
absolutely. You know, I did this collabo with Hood Hat USA, which was really great, and this is one of my joints that I did the fly-in. And shout out to my brothers at Griselda again, because they, you know, obviously everybody in hip hop has seen where they've taken the merch game.
Oh yeah.
And it's been phenomenal, and I saw it very early on. You know, when I started rocking with them in 2014. You know, Wes was giving me hoodies and hats and different things, and yo, here, take that. And it was these same champion hoodies and hats and everything that he's doing now that are go online for $1,000. You know, so he had the vision from early on. And if you're making records, you have to have tour merch.
You gotta have
right?
verticals.
Yeah,
You gotta have
you put out
verticals.
an album, you put out a shirt with it. They've been doing that since the 60s. You know what I mean? You put out an album, you have a shirt to go with it. But you know what they did was they took it to a whole nother level. And like I said, I never want to be the smartest person in the room. So as somebody who was already doing merch, I definitely got some game from him from afar and from up close, and from all three of them on the merch side of it, and being like, yeah, like we could finesse this way because the people are ready to jump into it on that level. We can do these creative things and these other creative things and really do something special that people hold on to forever. And a lot of that came from them, without a doubt. You know what I mean? Like just kind of sitting back and being like, damn, look how my brothers is doing it. Never be the smartest person in the room. I'm still learning. We on the same page, you know? So, you know, the merch thing, long story short, the merch thing has been great. Working on like some businesses, you know, in Atlanta, working on some giving back community things in New York and Atlanta that I'm excited about in the fall, like when the holidays come and stuff like that. Really wanting to just continue to dig deep into the community. I feel like if I can say all these things on a record about my neighborhood and how things are changing, that's one way to be a part of trying to get things right and get things in order for sure. But another way is to also be there and give back and whatever, as opposed to just talking about it on the record, you know. So talking the talk, walking the walk. So there's a lot of things I'm excited about that's coming up in the fall with me giving back to my neighborhood and in Atlanta, since I'm in Atlanta now too. That's home as well now, so I can't ride for one and neglect the other. No way. Atlanta's welcomed me with open arms as if I was one of their own. So, you know, I'll be doing a lot for both cities. And so a lot of things like that, man. And you know, I'm trying to continue to flex this penmanship and this muscle for TV stuff, film stuff. I've been doing a lot of film work on the side and TV work on the side, and you know, script writing and even a little bit of acting and auditioning stuff.
I saw that. I saw you were acting too.
Yeah. But I'm really excited about the writing side of the camera.
Nice.
I'm really excited about all these scripts that I have and these ideas that I have that I'm working on. So those are other things, just to go back to, because you asked what else I was doing outside of music. Those types of things, you know.
You're definitely a writer.
Oh yeah,
You're definitely a writer.
I pride myself in that, man. I want to write forever.
I can see it. I can see that.
Thank you.
The work that you're doing is incredibly important because, you know, I always talk to people about how musicians and artists are so important because they reflect the culture. They tell you what's going on right now. They're the
100%.
reporters of life and
100%.
this moment. And so I just want you to know how important you are to that. I'm giving you your flowers right now.
Man, thank you, man.
And you know, and just for being so dope, it's been great having your friendship all these years. And you know, I love being able to get around you, and we do what we do whenever we hang out.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you coming out here.
Oh
Seriously,
man,
coming
thank
up
you,
to
man,
Durham.
bro. You made the call, yo, bro. We trying to bring you out for the podcast. I was like, let's do it. Bring me out. Let's go.
That
You
was
know what I mean?
easy. That was one of the easiest yeses I've ever gotten from people. It's like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and you know, with me, like we were saying earlier, as far as being hands-on and doing everything yourself, you know, I manage myself.
Yeah.
I've managed myself since 2013, 2012. I think the end of 2012, early 2013. I've been managing myself since then. You know, so like if you reach out to me, you're gonna get me. If you're trying to get, y'all need to get with Sky for a show or a podcast or a verse or some music or a deal, you're talking to me.
Well, that's why I try to make it as easy as I could for you, because I know how that is. Trying to do
You're talking to
everything.
me.
So
you know
that's
what I'm
why.
saying? Like straight up and down.
And hopefully it felt turnkey getting
Oh, it's
in
perfect,
and out.
perfect.
So,
Yeah, you
okay.
family, man. So it's
Yeah,
love. You
cool.
family.
Thank you,
we
man.
vibing.
Same.
And we rocking and rolling.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming out here. I
Yeah.
know we've probably gone 2 hours just talking.
all
But I want to thank you for coming to Durham. I want to thank you for coming to Conversations, being a part of this. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in. So for everyone that's listening, everyone that is watching, thank you. But please subscribe.
Yeah.
Please follow us. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Google Podcasts, Apple Music, all the things. We're on all the outlets.
Yeah.
This is Conversations. I am Tobias Rose. This is Skyzoo. Please pick up, after you finish listening to this, all the brilliant things.
All the brilliant things.
Listen to it front to back, and I promise you, once you get to the last song, you're going to want to go back to the first one, and you're going to want to listen to it all the way through, because that's what I do.
It's pretty brilliant.
So it's very brilliant. So thank you again for listening to us. Thank you, Sky.
Yeah.
And thank you to the team back here that is helping us out. Addie,
Absolutely.
Carolyn, Chris. We got Samantha over here from Complex. And thank you to the people listening. We're going to see y'all next time. Peace.